Hi, this is Laurel. Welcome back to 31 Days of Couponing Success. And today we're just going to talk a little briefly about the topic of stockpiling for emergencies and disasters. Now, we stockpile for various reasons, but I venture to say that we mainly are stockpiling or accumulating food and non-food items for the purpose of being able to get them when they're really, really cheap, if not free, and then get enough to last us until the next sales cycle when we can get it again very cheaply or for free. The benefit, though, of having this stockpile is that you are, for the most part, prepared for emergencies and disasters. So this summer, at least in our area where I live, we were faced with quite a few natural disasters. We had an earthquake, and on the East Coast, how often do we have earthquakes? And I don't remember the exact order of things, but it was followed very closely by something like a hurricane and then a flood or a really bad storm or something, where we had all that really severe flooding here in the mid-Atlantic Northeast area. And so we then, in this area, at least many of us, attempted to really stock up and get the things that we needed. Well, for those of us who were, couponing and developing a stockpile, this was not as much of a crisis as it could have been. So now I was relatively new to couponing and stockpiling at the time, so I might have needed to add a few more things than maybe I would have otherwise had to add. For example, I don't necessarily keep a lot of canned foods on hand, and all you have to do is kind of open the top and you can use it. But I started stockpiling canned foods, and I still, even though it was getting close to the time that the storm was supposed to blow through, I made sure that I caught sales, used coupons, and still got them cheaper than paying regular or full price. So in your stockpile for these types of emergencies, you want to make sure that you have things that do not require gas or electricity or whatever you're using to cook, because in times of storms and disasters, you don't have access to gas or electricity necessarily. So that meant making sure that I had a charcoal grill, because I don't currently have a charcoal grill. We have an electric grill that we absolutely love, but it was not going to do us any good had we lost power, and we actually did lose power. And I made sure that we had batteries on hand for our radios, for flashlights. I made sure I had flashlights on hand, candles. And again, if you're stockpiling, you don't have to worry about rushing out to go and buy these things when you need them. You've already got your batteries on hand. You've already got a few candles on hand. You've already got some flashlights on hand. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. And you probably already have soup on hand and things that you can eat, again, that don't require heating or cooking necessarily, unless it's a very primitive source. You can open a can of soup, and even if you can't get it heated, you can still eat that soup. Probably not very appetizing, but it will save you. Obviously, it'll get you through a difficult time. Cans of tuna, I made sure I had that. Jars of peanut butter. We had those types of things. And because I had been using coupons to slowly develop a stockpile, I was not in as much of a crisis as I think others were. I read a blog by a couponer during that time who said that when she went to the store for one or two basic items, she said you could not find a roll of toilet paper or a jar of peanut butter anywhere. And her neighbors, believe it or not, started coming to her, knocking on her door, and she was more than willing to, and she was quite able to, share of her stockpile with them. So she said, I'll bet that they never, look at me the same way twice now that I've been able to help them during times like that, because you're not going to be able to find the stuff that you need. I think I added a few gallon bottles of water or something, because you want to make sure you have something like a gallon of water per day per person in your home. So we made sure we had some gallons of water as well. I mentioned something like a charcoal or like propane tank of gas, a gas grill. And those were the basic items, making sure that you sealed your important documents in a plastic bag, or at the very least, something that was not going to get that was reasonably water resistant. So that was a very interesting time, and we ended up losing power for maybe half the day on one day. We were very fortunate where we live. We didn't get flooded. We didn't lose utilities. We didn't lose our home. We have church members that lost their homes in the flood this past summer. So and that's something I kind of touched on in an earlier video, and I'll probably touch on in a later video before our 31 days are over. Okay, well, I think that's about enough. We don't necessarily need to go any further about this because, again, the general idea is that you are thinking through those things that you're going to need should there be any kind of natural disaster. So then when things start going on sale at the end of the season, that's a great stock up time to pick up one of those clearance charcoal grills or clearance you name it. Well, candles aren't necessarily a summer thing, but you understand that you can just pick up these things when you see them really cheap. Okay, thanks for watching.